This is exactly what Bucs fans have been waiting for. We got some awesome action, especially in the first quarter of our preseason game against the Steelers, week 2, and we had some really great defensive plays all around for the entire game with a great finish to stunt. And everyone's got to be happy about a walk-off. I'm Sebastian with Buccaneers Digest. Welcome back, guys. Hope anyone who joined us for the stream really enjoyed it. I know I did. And make sure to subscribe. 95% of viewers are not subscribed, but that's okay because you can just hit the bell, hit the button, join the Bucs Digest as we go get closer to the Bucs regular season. Week 2 for the preseason is now in the books. That happened last night. And, maybe not the most entertaining quarter 2, quarter 3 of football, but I think it had a strong start and a strong finish. And, any great story, that's what you want to see. Overall. And the real highlight to start things off was, surprisingly, Teddy Bridgewater. Adam Slavin from Pewter Report had to say, displaying command of the offense in such a short time, the competition for the top backup quarterback job now gets a little tighter. While Kyle Trask presumably holds the upper hand based on his time in the system, Bridgewater's experience and track record might force the Bucs to keep 3 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster. And that's not even mentioning all the good stuff that Bridgewater did during the game, including 2 touchdown passes, 2 touchdown drives, some great conversions for first downs, throws to Shepard. A not-so-great pass to Jalen McMillan, which got him hurt in the neck area. We will talk about that later, but fortunately he seems to be on the positive trajectory. But overall, a really great showing from Teddy, and I think a lot of Bucs fans are very encouraged by a strong QB play, especially with the other quarterback play that we got and the other parts of the game. Maybe not as exciting, and the offensive line, not the strongest showing for our guys. But then again, it is good to remember that the Steelers' defensive line is one of the fiercest in the league, so I wouldn't panic too much about that. These are hard guys, these are tough guys, and yeah, anyway, we won the game too. Also remember that. And our defense played pretty great too. But shout out to Teddy Bridgewater. He had a really strong showing, which was not expected because he's only been with the Bucs for 12 days going into this game. But we have quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield who's kind of used to that type of stuff. And what Todd Bowles had to say was that we wanted to see him in action. By no means a demotion for Kyle, that being Kyle Trask. We wanted to see him play, talking about Bridgewater, but not in mop-up time. We wanted to see where he was, and he did a good job. So I respect this. I understand that, overall, you don't want Teddy to, come in and not really be able to show you much playing with, 3rd and 4th stringers. Teddy's used to playing with starters or at least second-string guys. And so he came in with the starters, and he really did a good job considering, obviously this is a really talented group that we have, but they were there to support him. They were, in a limited amount of plays that Bridgewater knows in this system. It looked like he's been here a while, and that's really encouraging to see. Everyone, kind of needs a veteran presence as your quarterback too, especially just to have something to rely on, to fall back on if, God forbid anything happens to Baker, but we're making a Super Bowl push here. We're making a championship run, and we have to have a reliable backup. There's been Super Bowl champions who had to rely on their backups. The undefeated Dolphins had a backup quarterback lead them all the way. So it's and then look at the 2015 Broncos. Look at the 2017 Eagles. The Chiefs, one year, they needed their backup to come in and do some work. So it's it's a backup quarterback at some point in the season is usually going to be a necessary part of a championship run, or it has been in the past. And so Bridgewater coming out here and playing against a good Steelers, a well-coached Steelers defense, was very encouraging to watch. And to throw to Bucky Irving, come on. Who would have thought? We were trying to run it a lot with Bucky, and then obviously that wasn't working. But then he throws it like a fade route to Bucky Irving, who just an awesome throw, awesome catch for Bucky. As if he needed more reasons to get hyped up, and now he has another tool in his arsenal of he's a well, maybe not a deep threat, but you never know, you can put him on a wheel route, he can just go yard. And I think it's really exciting to Bucky doesn't really have much to prove at this point. You can keep him out for a preseason game 3. Just, keep his legs warm in training camp, and we can't wait to see him for the regular season. It's going to be great, and it was just good to see him getting a touchdown in this game. And also, speaking of touchdowns, Emeka Egbuka, that was the other touchdown that Bridgewater threw. Beautiful pass, and you could even argue an even better catch from Egbuka. Just, golly, what a stud this guy has been. And, it was pretty thrilling. He had a great catch in the first game from Trask, and then, this was his other catch. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It was a great route and just really good ball skills, finding the ball and making sure, he's falling down to his sides, his leg, his hip is inbounds. Really good body control, secures the ball. There's no bobbling. Just really impressive technique and just poise from the young receiver. And you just know, you can see it, you can feel it. He is going to be with the Bucs a long time. This guy's going to be a staple, and it's just great to see. We're very proud to have the most talented receiver room in the league. That's just, something that the Bucs didn't always have, and it was like Mike Evans by himself. But that's okay, because now look at us. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, Emeka Egbuka, Tez Johnson, Sterling Shepard. Like, you can't ask for much more. It's really, really exciting stuff. So, and then, again, shout out to Teddy Bridgewater for some really great throws to our guys. Todd Bowles had to say about Emeka, he plays like he practices. He's played like that ever since we drafted him. He's like that every day in practice, and it just carries over for him. And, the fact that he's that consistent, that he's just bouncing from, like, practice to a game, and the performance is always there, is just so telling about who Emeka is as a person, as a player, as a teammate. He's always going to give 100%. He's always going to give everything he can to every play. Great blocker, just, a guy who's always going to put in the effort. And, his teammates respect that. And Mike Evans, all these guys are going to just bring out the best in Emeka. And Emeka's bringing out the best in everyone else. You want to see both the youth and the veterans both kind of coming in together and bring about the best of each other. So I think this is fantastic to watch. And what wasn't fantastic to watch was Kyle Trask's performance, who really, really struggled last night. And he was only in for a quarter, so he wasn't in for that long, but only had 3 completions and was just looking like a little rattled up there. People were kind of speculating that like maybe the Bridgewater signing has gotten to him a little bit. And maybe he's feeling like that job's a bit threatened now, which at this point I think most Bucs fans would say, yeah, like I would feel more comfortable with Bridgewater at QB2. And I say this as a Trask fan, like, when we're making a Super Bowl run, do we want a veteran QB who's been on a lot of good teams like Teddy Bridgewater? And, he's been around the league. He understands what's needed of him, both as a coach, as a player, just as a role model, a leader. Trask, I no shame against him at all. He is a good person and a good teammate. He learns and he's smart, but at the same time, the performance on the field has to matter. And, yes, Bridgewater was playing with the starters, and Trask was, forced to play with the backups. And obviously, it's not going to be as strong when you start playing with the third stringers. But that's just kind of the name of the game. You have to still prove it when the opportunity gets to you, when it comes to you. And, to have a good performance in game 1, but then a really bad performance in game 2. Now it's like the opinion has shifted to like, I don't know how we feel about Trask. So he's going to need to have a good game 3 if he wants to keep his QB2 spot. That's just kind of really how it goes. And my prediction is I think Bridgewater ends up being QB2. But let me down below what you think about where that ends up being, like, or where your prediction is, or how you feel about Trask or Bridgewater in the QB competition there. But we'll see. Todd Bowles had to say about the defense, though. Turnovers win games. That last one got us the ball game. Now we can't turn it over, and that put them back in the ball game. But 3 interceptions 2 weeks in a row is a plus. Got to keep getting them. So yeah, the turnovers was a huge part. Jacob Parrish, a standout in the game. He might have been my player of the game. I mean, when he was on the field, He was everywhere, around every tackle, pushing guys out of bounds, breaking up passes. He didn't get an interception or anything, but just like game one, it's like his number was coming up almost on the screen every time the ball was going somewhere. And I found it really impressive. Benjamin Morrison was still not playing. That was our second round corner, so we're still kind of waiting to get a glimpse of what he's capable of. Maybe we'll see him in game 3. He's just starting to get back on the field regarding his injuries, but we'll see what happens with that. But in the meantime, our third round corner, Jacob Parrish, is he's kind of outshining Jamel Dean, if I'm being honest. We'll talk about that in a sec. But like Jacob Parrish has really had been a bright spot, going up against like the Titans ones. He wasn't really going up against the Steelers like DK Metcalf or anything, but like he was really proving that like he's going to be locked on to guys, seatbelting all these kind of dudes and really causing some disruption in the backfield and giving some time for our pass rush to get to the quarterback, which is really exciting. So shout out to Jacob Parrish. That was really great. We had 3 turnovers. I think that was fantastic. With the first one being Zion McCollum, who is a starting corner, and he looks great out there. He's on a contract year, so he's really trying to prove himself so he can get extended here in Tampa. And he's made strides every season that he's been with us, and I'm really excited to see him. As soon as he got on the field, it was the second play for our defense, and he had an interception, stepped right in front of it. They were trying to do a pass downfield, and he just got right in front of it and picked it off, ran it back a little bit, and that was awesome. That was great. And you always like to see, Mason Rudolph and Arthur Smith not really do much against our starters. Unfortunately, the following drive, Jamel Dean was getting cooked, and you aren't very encouraged when you see that kind of stuff. Jamel's been kind of a harsh spot, I would say. Or a harsh talking point, I might say, for Bucs fans. It's a bit of a controversial thing where it's like, do we actually think this guy is a starter or not? I am of the opinion that he really hasn't been contributing as a cornerback 1 that we needed him to. He's definitely not a lockdown guy, or anyone would consider him one of the best corners in the league or anything like that. And while he's like a starter, he has the capability of being a starter. He doesn't really have any flash. He looks slow trying to cover guys one-on-one. It feels like he's a better zone corner than he is a man corner. And Todd Bowles continues to praise him, but I think just like how we were skeptical of the Chris Broswell praise from Bowles, this is also some praise where we feel like it's a bit undeserved, where, he gave up a touchdown, he gave up a long pass, a pass interference. It was a really bad drive for Jamel Dean. So really, really good stuff from Parrish, from Zion McCollum. Really bad stuff from Jamel Dean. And I'm hoping the good corner play from the other 2 guys will force Dean to try and step up his game, because I honestly think that, Jamel's starting position, no matter the experience with us, should be in question when you have these other corners really making plays and really, being all over the field when Jamel feels like he can barely keep up with a backup receiver. So that's how I feel about that, and I know a lot of Bucs fans also feel similarly. Another corner who had a great play was Kendall Vildor. A great night overall. Has done the most of the Bucs backup defensive backs to make a case for the 53-man roster. Last night, an interception, 2 pass breakups, and 4 tackles. Could pull ahead of Hall, Hayes, and Funderburk for the 5th corner spot. I agree. I think Vildor was all over the field. That was number 22 on the field. He was really impressive, and I was just overall really impressed by what he was able to do. This is still Zion, by the way, but I was like, he tipped it up to himself. It was a pass breakup, which he also tipped up to himself for an interception on the sideline, and ran it back for 30 yards. So that combination of 3 things, like I mentioned on the stream, is exactly what you want to see: a ball hawk, a playmaker, and a guy who is willing to get physical for the pass deflection and interception. So that was really encouraging to see. And 3 turnovers in back-to-back games, interceptions. So that's 6 interceptions for the Todd Bowles defense. Really exciting stuff. I mean, because we really haven't been doing too great in the turnover department these past couple of years, and that's been a trademark of Todd Bowles as a defensive coordinator. He forces a lot of mistakes.
And so we're looking to get back into our intercepting ways. And these past two preseason games have been encouraging to see that. There've been some really strong defensive performances. One touchdown that basically was all Dean letting things go throughout the entire drive, and the other touchdown happened because of the muffed punt from Tez Johnson, which that's just a mistake that he needs to learn from if he's going to be our special teams returner. You can't, he should have just let the ball go, and he tried to make a play on the ball when there were defenders right near him, and that was just a straight up mistake. So anyway, that's just how the Steelers got their two touchdowns. Overall, I think the defense played really, really well. Yes, it was Skylar Thompson at quarterback for most of the game for the Steelers, but backups are backups. These guys are all fighting for a job, for a position, and that should never be downplayed, especially with like how hard these guys are trying. So, and then the last interception, like Todd Bowles mentioned, was at the end of the game. Steelers were there was like back-to-back turnover on downs from both teams, but the Steelers were making a push to get a last-second field goal to walk it off on us. And we had an amazing interception here at the end, which was really, really exciting. Greer, I believe his name was, and he returned it back for like 20 yards, got us onto the 40-yard line, and it was really exciting stuff. And then Green had the screen pass catch on third down to get us into a lot closer field goal range, where we kneeled it out and then kicked the game-winning field goal from Chase McLaughlin. I think all of that stuff was great execution. I don't care if it's preseason. You always want to win. We are now 2-0 in the preseason, and that's because the Bucs care about winning. They don't even care at what point in the season it is. Winning is a culture here, so I've always liked that aspect of it. And then lastly, on the update for Jalen McMillan, he did update on his Instagram. God is amazing. Don't worry, y'all. I'm straight. So everyone saw that Jalen McMillan was in a brace, and I think that was causing a lot of panic for Bucs fans that like, oh my gosh, like, is he going to be okay for the season? Like how long is he going to be out? Everyone's kind of playing doctor a bit on Twitter and stuff like that. I looked up like how much like a neck strain could possibly sideline you. A mild neck strain looks like it'd be taking a few weeks to recover from, and then like a really bad neck strain could be months. But from what Jalen McMillan's post there sounded like, and then there were also reports that McMillan was like joking around in the locker room after the game that he was in decent spirits, and then Bucca was also like smiling about it. So my guess is that we skipped the preseason game 3 for him. He heals up to get ready for the regular season, which is in like 3 weeks. So and he should be okay for that. That's where things are trending. So you can release your breath now. You don't have to hold it anymore. All signs, unless we get an update, are that Jalen will be good for the regular season. So that was good to hear. You appreciate Jalen trying to high point the ball and go up and get it even in a preseason game. It's like, but you don't have to try that hard, dude. We're going to need you for the real games. But it goes to show the effort, how much they care, how much they want the ball. These guys are just, they're hungry to make plays, and you got to love the youth that we're getting, because the reckless youth, you can almost say. But at the same time, Teddy also needs to learn, like, listen, just because you have this youth, because you have this talent, doesn't mean these guys are invincible. They will hurt themselves trying to catch these balls, so just be careful. Kyle Trask, at the same time, like, learn from this stuff. Don't send them hospital balls. We want them on the field, not in the hospital or on the sideline. And they want that too. They want to be playing. They want to be doing whatever they can to help us win. So overall, though, my takeaway, I'm excited about the turnovers, particularly Jacob Parrish. I'm very high on him. I think we're really looking for good corner play. We got some good, there's a couple sacks in there, but we didn't have like another Nick Jackson performance. Although he played pretty solidly while he was in, there wasn't like another sack or interception for him. He was just kind of playing very normally. He's still making a case to try and make the roster, which I think is exciting, because we need linebacker depth for sure. We need options there. I would like to have him there. Vildor, the guy who made the several tackles, interception, pass breakups, he was probably the other corner or defensive back that had a really good night. But we're also working through, like, okay, J.J. Roberts, he had a season-ending injury from the joint practice on Thursday, so Shiloh needed he had a chance to really make a statement last night. I don't think he did. I don't think he looked particularly sharp. He's probably looking at a practice roster spot, if that. So don't expect Shiloh to make the final 53. I also think that it wouldn't hurt to take a flyer on Justin Simmons, like we made a video about, just to get some veteran presence in there. I know Izzian's dealing now with an oblique injury, which is, on your side, but overall he should be okay for the regular season. But at the same time, with injuries already starting to pile up a bit for us, I wouldn't mind bringing in some veteran presence that could really help us. Guys who are fresh and are veterans. So that's my opinion on that. And then we will be probably making a video soon about Trey Hendrickson and how there's some news about they're taking calls on Trey now. So I'm just saying. Anyway, let me down below what you guys are thinking from preseason game 2. What was your takeaway? Who was your standout player? Who really, popped off the screen for you? And sound out in the comments below. We will be talking more and more about all updates for the Buccaneers in the future videos. Stay tuned. Stay subscribed. We're going for 2,000 now subscribers. So just let's keep pushing. We're doing great stuff here, and getting ready for preseason game 3 and then the regular season. We're almost there, guys. Get hyped. Get excited. I will see y'all in the next one.